ICMPv6 is an important part of IPv6. ICMP is the Internet Control Message Protocol, and the current version is 6, and it is defined in RFC 4443. Among others, it contains the Neighbor Discovery Protocol, NDP, which is used to replace ARP. Let's have a look at the ICMPv6 packet. It's similar to the IPv4 ICMP packet. It contains a type and a code and a checksum. And of course, there is a message body. Let's have a look at the types and codes. We have different types, just like in IPv4. We have destination unreachable, which is type 1, with different codes. So if you do a ping, you can get a destination unreachable back with the detailed information that there is no route to destination, which would be a type 1 with code 0, or maybe the address is unreachable, then it is a type 1 with a code 4. Maybe it's beyond the scope of source address because you're pinging with link local, but you're pinging a global address on the internet. Then you will get back a type 1 with code 2. Then there is type 2, packet too big. As I told you before, this is used if you send a packet that is too big for one of the routers on the path with the MTU size, which is less than the packet size you're sending, will send you back a ICMP type 2 with code 0, packet too big. The ICMP type 3 is time exceeded. This is used for traceroute. Then we have type 4, parameter problem. This is new. We have type 128, which is echo request. This is the ping. Type 129 is echo reply. This is the ping reply. Then we have different group membership. Then we have type 133, which is a router solicitation, router advertisement, neighbor solicitation, neighbor advertisement. And I will talk about that later. And a type 137 is a redirect, just like in IPv4. So if you have a default gateway on your network and the default gateway has a route to some other host in your network for some destination, then it will send a redirect and it will tell your host, okay, to reach this destination, don't go through me, please use this other next hop that is also in your network. It will send a type 137 redirect telling you the correct IPv6 next hop address. Let's have a look at the Neighbor Discovery Protocol. It is layer 2 and it is also used for the stateless address auto configuration, SLAC, which I will talk about later. This is used to address hosts in your network which can replace DHCP. Neighbor Discovery is also used to find other hosts in their MAC addresses, like ARP was used in IPv4. It is also used to find routers and DNS servers, and it can provide prefix information on the link you're at. Like when you want to do your own addressing, you don't have to use DHCP anymore, you can use Neighbor Discovery. It is also used for duplicate address detection to make sure that your address you're using is unique. We have to talk about a little detail before. It is called the solicited node multicast address. It is a special multicast address which is defined in RFC 4291. And for every IPv6 address, you have to join the specific multicast group. The prefix is FF02000001 FF00 with a prefix length of /104. And then the multicast group contains this prefix and the last 24 bits of your IPv6 address. As you can recognize, this is not unique. So there might be more hosts on this specific multicast group, but that's not a problem. This one is used for neighbor discovery, and it is used to make sure that your address is unique. Router solicitation. This is ICMPv6 type 133. It's also called RS. Your host will send a RS to the all routers multicast group, which all routers are listening to receive the prefix information and the address of the routers. So if your host has just configured an IPv6 address but doesn't know the default route because it might not be configured statically, then it will send a router solicitation telling all routers on the local link or your VLAN, please tell me what prefix I should configure my address with. So the router solicitation is one of the most important parts of ICMPv6. It is type 133, and if your host just boots up and has an interface with IPv6 enabled, it will send an RS to the all routers multicast group, which is at ff02::2. Every router on your link will listen to this multicast group, and your host will send a message to receive the prefix information and the address of routers. So you boot up, your interface comes up, and your host will tell the all routers multicast group, please tell me what network is on this link and who's responsible for routing outside. The reply to this is a router advertisement, also called RA. It's type 134. And the router sends periodic RAs to the all hosts multicast group, ff02::1, which every host which is IPv6 enabled has to listen to. And the router will send an RA announcing the local prefix or the local network and information of its own address. So it will tell everybody on the link, the current prefix on this link is this and that, and my IPv6 address is this, and you can use me to reach outside networks. This message is also used as a reply to the router solicitation. So if your host boots up, doesn't have an address yet, it sends an RS and a router will reply with an RA. Any router on the link, not only one. With the RA, you can set a preference of low, medium, or high in case you have more than one router on the link and you want to prefer one. In the past, you probably used VRRP or HSRP, and in this case, you can just have two routers. One sends priority high, the other sends priority low, so the hosts on your network without any configuration will prefer the highest priority. Another message is the neighbor solicitation, which is ICMPv6 type 135. This is used to find the link layer address, that's the layer 2 or MAC address of another host. This is replacing ARP. You remember, IPv4 and IPv6 are layer 3 protocols, but for communication on the local link, you need the layer 2 MAC address. So we don't have ARP anymore, which used broadcast. We only have multicast, and we have the neighbor solicitation. A host will send a message to the unicast IPv6 address of the neighbor to find out its MAC address. And it will tell, hello, what is your MAC address? Because I want to talk to you. Also, a neighbor solicitation is sent to find if a neighbor is still alive and reachable. I will tell you later about this. The reply to this neighbor solicitation message is the neighbor advertisement message, which is ICMPv6 type 136. It tells somebody via unicast, this is my MAC address. You already know my IPv6 address because you have sent a neighbor solicitation. The last message is the redirect. Like I told you before, like in IPv4, if you have multiple routers on the link and your default gateway is not the correct next hop to the destination, it will send a redirect telling your host, please talk to this other router for this destination.